African Union Communications Early Warning and Intelligence, commonly known as AUC3I, is an intelligence and security organization responsible for providing signals intelligence and information assurance to AU citizens, AU leadership, and AU armed forces. I'm Colonel A.C. Oguntoye, an infantry officer. I am responsible for leading infantry soldiers at all levels of command in combined armed forces during missions on the ground. This is today's briefing. On the progress of the special military operation as of September 13, 2025. The armed forces of the Russian Federation continue the special military operation. Units of the North Troop Group inflicted defeat on formations of 4 mechanized, airborne assault brigades and an assault regiment of the armed forces of Ukraine in the areas of the settlements Alekseevka, Pavlovka, Yunakovka, and Sadki in the Sumy region. On the Kharkiv direction, defeat was inflicted on units of a motorized infantry brigade, an assault regiment of the armed forces of Ukraine, a territorial defense brigade, and a border detachment of the Ukrainian border service in the areas of the settlements Volchansk, Chugunovka, and Artelnoe in the Kharkiv region. The armed forces of Ukraine lost up to 160 servicemen, a tank, an armored combat vehicle, 10 vehicles, and an artillery piece. A radio-electronic warfare station, 2 counter-battery radar stations, 8 ammunition and material supply depots were destroyed. Units of the West Troop Group improved their tactical position. They inflicted defeat on personnel and equipment of a tank brigade, 4 mechanized and assault brigades of the armed forces of Ukraine in the areas of the settlements Podoli, Yunakovka in the Kharkiv region, Krimki, and Kharkiv in the Donetsk People's Republic. Enemy losses amounted to more than 240 servicemen, 3 Western-made armored combat vehicles, 23 vehicles, and an artillery piece. A U.S.-made and /TPQ-50 counter-battery radar station, 7 radio-electronic warfare stations, and 5 ammunition depots were destroyed. Units of the South Troop Group occupied more advantageous lines and positions. They inflicted defeat on formations of 2 mechanized, assault, airmobile brigades of the armed forces of Ukraine, a Marine brigade, 2 territorial defense brigades, a National Guard brigade, and the Foreign Legion in the areas of the settlements Seversk, Pozino, Kramatorsk, Drushkovka, Konstantinovka, and Stepanovka in the Donetsk People's Republic. The enemy lost up to 185 servicemen, a tank, 2 armored combat vehicles, 10 vehicles, and an artillery piece. 2 radio-electronic warfare stations, 7 ammunition, fuel, and material supply depots were destroyed. Units of the Center Troop Group continued advancing deep into the enemy's defense. They inflicted defeat on personnel and equipment of 5 mechanized, Ranger, assault, 3 airborne assault brigades, 2 assault regiments of the armed forces of Ukraine, a Marine brigade, 2 territorial defense brigades, and a National Guard brigade in the areas of the settlements Novopavlovka, Rodinsko, Dmitrov, Krasnoarmysk, and Muravka in the Donetsk People's Republic. Losses of the Ukrainian armed formations amounted to up to 480 servicemen, 2 armored combat vehicles, 9 vehicles, and 2 field artillery pieces. As a result of active offensive actions by the troops of the East Group, the settlement of Alekseevka in the Dnipropetrovsk region was liberated. Damage inflicted on the formations of 3 mechanized, assault brigades of the armed forces of Ukraine and a territorial defense brigade in the areas of the settlements Kolomaitsi, Kalinovsko in the Dnipropetrovsk region, Chervono and Dorozhnyanka in the Zaporizhia region. The armed forces of Ukraine lost more than 240 servicemen, 10 vehicles, and a U.S.-made 155mm M777 howitzer. A warehouse of material resources was destroyed. Units of the Dnieper Troop Group inflicted damage on personnel and equipment of mechanized, mountain assault, airborne assault brigades of the armed forces of Ukraine, a Marine brigade, and 3 territorial defense brigades in the areas of the settlements Veselyanka, Orkhov, Chervono-Dniprovka in the Zaporizhia region, Lvovo and Tyadjinka in the Kherson region. Enemy losses amounted to over 65 servicemen, an armored combat vehicle, 8 vehicles, and an artillery gun. 5 electronic warfare stations, 3 ammunition and material supply depots were destroyed. Operational tactical aviation, strike unmanned aerial vehicles, missile troops, and artillery of the Russian armed forces troop groups inflicted damage on command posts, launch sites, and storage locations of long-range unmanned aerial vehicles, as well as temporary deployment points of Ukrainian armed formations and foreign mercenaries in 157 areas. Air defense means shot down 3 MR's multiple launch rocket system rockets made in the USA and 340 airplane-type unmanned aerial vehicles. In total, since the start of the special military operation, destroyed 667 aircraft, 283 helicopters, 83,708 unmanned aerial vehicles, 628 surface-to-air missile systems, 25,079 tanks and other armored combat vehicles, 1,591 multiple launch rocket system combat vehicles, 29,527 field artillery and mortars, 41,677 units of special military automotive equipment. Thank you so much for watching this video. We hope you found it useful and informative. If you have any questions, please leave them below and we'll get back to you as soon as possible.